Hello, friends, and welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Today's tale is a little juicy, a little salty, and a whole lot of crunchy. It's about four brothers who aren't just any brothers. They're pickles! Yeah, that's right, the Pickle Bros. They dream of more than being stuck in a jar with brine and dill. And their adventure takes them from the fridge to the big, wide world outside. So grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me for this adventure. The Pickle Bros. Once upon a pickle jar, way in the back of the fridge, lived four pickle brothers: Landon, Tom, Steve, and Jonathan. They floated in brine day after day, squished between garlic cloves and dill sprigs, dreaming of something more. One afternoon, Landon pressed his little pickle nose against the glass.
Hey, bros. We've been stuck in this jar for too long. Let's break free and see the world.
Tom perked up.
Free? Like out of the jar? That sounds crunchy.
Jonathan shrugged his shoulders. I guess it could be fun. Steve sighed. I don't know. The fridge is quiet and peaceful. Cold, but cozy. But Landon was persuasive.
Come on. There's more to life than brine. Out there, we can do anything.
So with a wiggle and a pop, the lid came loose, and the Pickle Bros tumbled out, rolling across the kitchen counter. Whoa, we're free, Jonathan shouted.
Now what should we do?
Tom asked. Landon puffed out his chest.
Pickles! We make more pickles.
Tom agreed.
Yes, more pickles.
Jonathan scratched his pickle head. Why?
Because pickles are the greatest thing ever,
Landon declared.
and the world needs more.
So Landon dragged Tom outside, where together they planted cucumber seeds in the garden. Jonathan followed behind them and observed. Meanwhile, Steve wandered off to a bench overlooking the river. He closed his eyes, breathing deeply. Ah, freedom, nature. Finally, I can meditate in peace. Then he stood up and began practicing Tai Chi, his pickle arms swaying gracefully. As Landon and Tom continued planting cucumbers, Jonathan observed, daydreaming of playing music and crowds cheering. He picked up a shovel and strummed it like a guitar. You know what? I think I want to play music. Maybe start a band. Tom and Landon just stared down at the garden, taking turns mumbling, "Pickles, pickles, pickles, pickles." Jonathan walked over and sat on the bench near Steve. Hey, bro, you want to start a band with me? Steve shook his head. Not me. I just want peace. Birds, rivers, sunshine. That's enough for me. Well, that's okay, said Jonathan. But I'll still need money for a guitar, so maybe I'll help Landon and Tom for now. So he headed back over to the cucumber garden. Together, the three brothers harvested cucumbers, sliced them, and dunked them into jars of brine. Soon they had their first batch of homemade pickles. Tom's stomach rumbled. I'm hungry. Landon held up a jar.
Pickles!
He gobbled some down. Jonathan and Tom joined in. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Jonathan said. But if I want a guitar, I'll need money.
Then we'll sell pickles, Landon cried. Pickles, pickles.
After a few months of harvesting cucumbers and turning them into pickles, the brothers were ready to sell. they set up a stand on the sidewalk near their pickle farm. They built a sign that read, "Fresh pickles, crunch guaranteed." Customers began to line up. The pickles were juicy, crisp, and delicious. Money began to fill their empty pickle jar. They nearly sold out after their first day of business. Jonathan finally had enough money to buy a bass guitar, so he strutted off to the music shop. He came back strumming and sat beside Steve at the river. Steve meditated, Jonathan played, and together they found peace. Meanwhile, Landon's eyes grew big.
We're rich, but not rich enough. We need more pickles.
Tom raised his eyebrows.
Don't we have enough? No, Landon shouted. Pickles! I want to be rich. Rich in pickles.
Tom looked concerned. But what will we buy?
Pickles!
Landon roared. Tom wasn't sure what else he wanted to do, so he decided to continue making pickles with Landon, for now. So they planted more cucumbers, made more pickles, and sold more jars. Before long, they had piles of coins and mountains of pickles. Landon's ambition grew.
We'll buy pickle farms. We'll take over the world.
Tom groaned. Do we really need to take over the world? Sounds a little greedy.
Yes,
cried Landon.
Pickles. Mountains of pickles. The whole world covered in pickles.
Soon Landon had pickle farms everywhere. Trucks rolled in, barrels of pickles rolled out. He even wore a crown made of pickle slices. But Tom was growing more and more weary by the day. All we do is work, make pickles, eat pickles, and sell pickles. I miss just being a pickle. He went to Steve and Jonathan. Bros, Landon's gone too far. He wants to pickle the whole world. I'm getting tired of only making pickles. Steve nodded. Greed spoils the brine. Jonathan strummed his bass. Maybe it's time to remind Landon of what really matters. That night, the brothers gathered. Landon stood proudly atop a mountain of pickles.
Look at all we've built. We're pickle kings.
Tom stepped forward. But Landon, what's the point? We don't laugh anymore. We don't play. We don't rest. All we do is pickle. Jonathan strummed a gentle tune on his bass, and Steve whispered, Peace is richer than greed. Landon looked around at the mountains of pickles, stretching as far as the eye could see. He reached up and traced the rim of his pickle crown with his fingers. Then, glancing at his brothers, he slowly lifted it from his head. With a heavy sigh, he admitted,
Maybe I got a little carried away.
Tom smiled. We don't need to pickle the world. We just need to enjoy it. Jonathan plucked a happy riff, and Steve breathed out deeply. Let's go back to the jar. Not forever, but just to remember where we came from. So the Pickle Bros climbed back into their jar. It was snug, familiar, and oddly comforting. Together they laughed, swapped stories, and reminisced about their adventures outside of the jar. And although Landon still dreamed of pickle empires, he discovered that the greatest riches weren't in money or pickle farms. They were right in front of him all along. He was already wealthy in companionship, love, and comfort, and he didn't need to travel anywhere to feel it. From then on, whenever one of the brothers asked, What should we do today? Landon would shout, Pickles! The others would laugh, knowing that sometimes the wildest adventures lead you right back where you started, back where you belong. The end. And that is the end of our story, friends. Wow, that Landon sure got carried away with his dreams of a pickle empire, huh? Well, I'm glad the brothers were able to help bring him back to his humble beginnings. And that leads me to a moral I learned from this story. I think the Pickle Bros taught us that chasing riches and pickle empires isn't nearly as valuable as the love, laughter, and companionship you already share every day. And sometimes the greatest adventures lead you right back to where you started, back where you belong, and with the people you love most. So what did you learn from the Pickle Bros? Anything else? Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!